Please walk me through your whole idea of building your school, and obviously there's a lot of foundational work that has happened before the whole campus, so to speak.
I think the seeds for the idea of building a world-class school started quite long ago in my mind. I spent over 20 years in the UK education system, but the idea of coming back to India and do something in education, implementing something that I have learned over 2 decades in a world-class education system like UK, I just wanted to do something.
So what was that why for you?
After something like $70,000-$80,000, it may be $150,000 per year income, the money doesn't proportionately increase your happiness. After a certain point, you need to find happiness from other things. The next big challenge we don't know, right? Artificial intelligence is a tool. AI is not an educator. People misunderstand that, okay? AI will give answers, but who will teach the students what is the right question to ask?
Do you think our schools need to also have a deliberate discussion on how to absorb failure?
School is a controlled ecosystem where you can control a lot of things. Successes to a certain extent, failures, coaching, sports, communication, lots of things you can control. Once you finish your degree, you might end up in the real world of work. There's no control.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have a clue who your colleagues will be.
Very well said.
You don't have a clue who your boss is going to be.
Yeah.
Right? So you're actually preparing them for a ultimate failure.
A parent who walks in and says, hey, you know what? I want my child to go to IIT.
Yes.
That is their life's mission. And is it important for you to communicate like, hey, that may not be the clear path?
You know, when you are going to start IIT coaching, would you start at 8th grade or 10th grade? Okay, we said we don't start IIT coaching, full stop, in the school. So we are very clear. And there are a couple of parents who said, no, we want this. I said, this is wrong school.
Not the right place.
Please don't join us.
And 5 years later, we're sitting in this amazing facility. What do you want to be most proud of 25 years from now?
So let's say last minute of your life.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
That's how I.
That's the ultimate truth.
That's why actually, that's how I count it in a way.
Absolutely.
So in the last minute of your life, are you dying happily? Okay. So what makes you happy? What makes you unhappy? That's the ultimate. That's only 1 minute that counts in terms of. And for that 1 minute, you plan your whole life. That's my philosophy.
Wonderful. Welcome to another episode of InspireEd, where we bring you stories of visionaries who not only just are building schools, but reshaping what education can truly be. I'm your host, Ankur Gupta. In education, we often talk about settling a school, settling systems, settling life. But what if settled is a myth? What if meaningful institutions are built by people who act before certainty arrives, not after everything feels safe? Today's conversation is not about returning to India or building a school. It's about timing, about knowing when clarity is enough, even when comfort is not. For school owners especially, this episode asks a deeper question. What are you waiting to feel settled before you act? Today on InspireEd, I'm joined by Dr. Kondal Reddy Kandadi, an educator who has worked across higher education and K-12 and has made some very deliberate choices about when and why to build. Dr. Reddy, welcome to InspireEd. It's great to have you on the show.
Hi, Ankur. It's a pleasure to speaking to you.
Great. One of my favorite things when I go to any school or university campus is, just the energy you soak in when you walk into a campus, and there is a lot of freshness. Obviously, this is a brand new campus, and metaphorically and literally also you can smell everything new here. So just please walk me through your whole idea of building your school, and obviously there's a lot of foundational work that has happened before the whole idea of the school and making the school came along, and we'll get into that. But I want to start us with the school, the whole campus, so to speak.
Yeah, thanks, Ankur, for that question. We are 3 years old almost.
Yeah.
So we are not new.
Fair enough.
I think the seeds for the idea of building a world-class school started quite long ago in my mind. I spent over 20 years in the UK education system in various roles. My last role was a Deputy Vice-Chancellor of University of Greater Manchester in Manchester area. And I led the academic function of that university for almost 5 years.
Wow.
And before that, I worked as Pro Vice-Chancellor, as Dean, as Assistant Vice-Chancellor, and so on and so forth. But the idea of coming back to India and do something in education, implementing something that I have learned over 2 decades in a world-class education system like UK, I just wanted to do something, come back home and do something in education. And there was quite a lot of debate in my own mind, right? What would that be? I thought of starting a university.
Absolutely.
I had significant expertise, also in school education and so on. And then also the idea came, why not a school? And the debate went on for some time in my mind, on paper. So then I started thinking, what is that we're trying to achieve by starting an educational institution, whether it's a school or a university? And that kind of answered the question. And what I was trying to achieve, and I am trying to achieve, is about the students,
Okay.
whether it's a school or a university. And I wanted to build an institution that will grow pioneers, leaders, pathbreakers, entrepreneurs who will go out and change the world. That's the core intention. Now, you can do that by starting a university as well. The reason it became very clear that it is good to start a school is I wanted to catch them early. By the time they're 18, coming to a university, their mind is formed. Of course, you can still change, but I really believe that their mind is formed to a certain extent. And if you really want to grow tomorrow's pathbreakers, pioneers, leaders in science, technology, business, medicine, doesn't matter which field, I thought and I believed that you need to catch them early.
Interesting.
And then grow them day in and day out with that mindset. So then the answer became quite clear and easy. And that's the reason we started the Manchester Global School 2 years ago. I returned from Britain in 2021, built the campus in 2 years' time.
And built so much of it.
Yeah, we built almost, it's a 20 acres campus. We built 6 lakh square feet with various facilities and so on. But everything that we did in this campus, everything that we built goes back to that core goal, core purpose that we defined for ourselves and for this institution. So coming back to the school itself, now we have plenty of good schools, in fact, great schools across India. And South India, Hyderabad is blessed with high quality schools.
Absolutely.
And when I looked at the landscape, there are very, very good schools already existing. And we are blessed with, those high quality institutions already. Now, there is no reason for me to build another school like that, right? Now, many schools are producing good engineers, doctors, preparing them for entrance exams, technologists. We're also growing very good programmers, accountants, whatnot. And I think they're doing a splendid job. As you could see, over the last 20, 30 years, the schooling system of India has produced very, very good professionals. Where I found a particular gap, based on my experience in the UK and across the world, observing institutions across the world, where I found a particular gap is, yes, we are growing all these professionals, engineers, doctors, technologists, accountants, lawyers, and so on. But I don't think we are producing pathbreakers for tomorrow. I don't think we are producing pioneers who will break the mold and be next Nobel.
Not enough of it.
Yeah. Right. That's a good point, actually. In some areas, none of it.
Wow.
Right. I'll give you a single example.
Please.
It's been 90 years, 90. It's been 90 years. India has not homegrown a single Nobel laureate in science.
Wow.
90 years. With all our great institutions, policies, whatnot, we have not produced a single Nobel laureate in science homegrown. We had 3 or 4 before that.
Wow.
The last person to win a Nobel Prize in Science, homegrown Indian, was Sir C.V. Raman. And 90 years has passed by. Why is that happening? I think we put the children on a treadmill, preparing them for entrance exams, as if cracking those entrance exams is like win of the life. Or
You arrived.
yeah, you have arrived. And not preparing them to take calculated risks, not preparing their mindset to be the pioneer of science, physics, chemistry, or even a businessman for that matter, right? So I think that gap is very deep, right? I really wanted to give that example because it paints me as an educationalist, somebody who studied and worked in the UK education system for 2 decades, because I went to University of Manchester to study my master's degree.
Yeah.
And a single university, the University of Manchester, has produced 21 Nobel laureates.
Wow. In the same timeline.
Over its lifetime.
Over its lifetime.
One university. I'm not counting Oxford, Cambridge,
Yeah,
UCL, Imperial.
Yeah.
One. Now, why is that India has over 1 billion people? 90 years passed by. Why we are unable to home grow a Nobel laureate in science? When we produced several before independence. I think that gap of educating tomorrow's pioneers, entrepreneurs, leaders, pathbreakers, whether it's science, technology, medicine, business, doesn't matter. I think we're not doing that successfully. I really believe that. And there's a gap that exists. And we want to, through Manchester Global School, establishing this institution, Manchester Global School, we want to sow a seed. I'm not saying that we will achieve everything, but that for me gives a meaning for our lives, to sow the seed through an institution that will grow tomorrow's pioneers, leaders, pathbreakers. And that might happen in next 15, 20, 25, 30 years. But before we are gone, if we are able to see a number of those pathbreakers in science, business, doesn't matter which field, sports for that matter, if we are able to home grow those pioneers of tomorrow in the next 20 years, 25 years, I think we have done our job. So this school is not established for tomorrow, day after, next year, or next 5 years. We wanted to leave a legacy through this institution.
Absolutely. No, that's great. And I want to build more on that. But I want to roll back in time a little bit, as we get started in our conversation. I'm thinking 2001, when you finish your master's in India and you choose to go to UK for higher education. Walk me that mindset, right? What made you want to go to the UK for the first place, right? And what was at the back of your mind? What did you want to achieve at that time?
I worked for a couple of years before I went to UK. After my first master's in India, here in Hyderabad, I worked for a couple of years for Tata McGraw-Hill.
Yeah.
Learned quite a few things. So the reason I went to UK is several-fold, but the core reason is that I was the first generation to finish schooling.
In your family?
In my family.
Oh, wow.
So my mother couldn't finish junior school. My father couldn't finish the whole school. My grandfather did not have a school to go to. But in a single generation, I think the education transformed us. Not only we finished school, but also we finished our undergraduate degree, and then a master's degree in India. And we were well settled in a very good job at Tata Group. And then a thought came. We came this far in a single generation. Could we actually, go even further?
Take another
in
leap.
Education itself.
Yeah.
Take another leap. So several options came, US, UK, and other things. And fortunately, my parents worked very hard to send me to the UK. And I said, why not? Let's go for a master's degree in a University of Manchester, which is a world-class university. Studied my master's, and the story, fortunately, I think, looking back, did not end there.
Yeah.
After my master's, September 11 happened, and the job market was not that good.
Yeah.
I didn't get a job I really wanted. I wanted to be a business analyst after my master's degree. But anyway, then I had a scholarship to do a PhD.
Okay.
And it's a 4-5 years commitment.
Yes.
PhD.
It is long.
Yeah. And the light that has shown me the path, rather than choosing a job and go for a PhD with a scholarship, was right. I came this far, in a single generation of a family that was not educated highly. Why can't I take that last step and actually get a PhD?
Wow.
My parents supported it, and I jumped into it and really enjoyed.
But at the back of your mind, were you thinking that I'm doing this PhD to start a journey into education or life of an educationist? I'm just curious, at what point did that spark come into you?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I have to be, to be honest, when I did a PhD, it's more of, actually, when I started PhD, more of getting the title, getting the PhD. And I actually did not wanted to get into education at that point. I did not at all. I wanted to, after my PhD, either settle in a very plum job or go to the US, into tech industry.
Okay.
That was my intention.
Interesting. Yeah.
Midway through the PhD, I think something really changed my mind. That you do research, you immerse yourself in the world of books and information, knowledge, all of those aspects. And I traveled quite a lot. My research work is in Germany, UK, and India during my PhD. And I thought, it was a very, very deeply fascinating and journey for me. That. So by the time I finished PhD, I got really dragged emotionally, philosophically towards education in general. So while I was in final year of my PhD, the university kind of put a golden handcuffs. They gave me a research fellow job. And that's something I really loved, and took the job. And that's the end of my plans to go to tech industry, US, and other
corporate
things.
world was sidelined that way.
Because I was really, really fascinated by the field of education, teaching, and research. And first few years, I worked as a research fellow, finished my PhD, and fortunately, I won a world's outstanding PhD thesis award at that time. Wow. Highly commended. And then continued my research career as a senior research fellow, and then became a reader. Until that point also, the job was good, life was good, everything. But until even that point, I actually didn't want it to start an educational institution or contribute to the field of education or something.
At that point, you were just sort of along the ride.
Plodding along.
Yeah.
And I got a couple of promotions, which was like, winning a lot of research funding in Europe and all kinds of things. So things are going well, but, until that point, no.
But was it an easy decision? Like you said, the golden handcuff, like you got an opportunity, like, okay, here's someone who's about to finish his PhD, and obviously got the exposure to travel around and do research in different parts of the world. Was it an easy decision to say, you know what, the corporate world can wait and let me just test this out? Or was this an intentional thing? Or was it just like, okay, I'm just delaying another decision for now?
No, it wasn't an easy decision at all. The reason it wasn't is at that age and time, you start, unfortunately, you start comparing.
Of course.
Okay. So you got your friends, earning quite a lot of money and tech industry, business and other things. And then even, in those days when you come back to India, I'm talking about 2009, 10, there's a huge boom, economic boom. And a lot of people are making a lot of money with, reasonably similar kind of knowledge and expertise.
Yeah.
So you sometimes get, am I doing the right thing kind of thing.
The self-doubt sometimes comes in. Yeah.
So it wasn't an easy decision to stay in education. But the world of research, the teaching, and that slowly transforming people through the power of education, that kind of unknowingly, getting digested and into me.
Okay.
So I think that's probably what motivated to stay in education. But something significantly changed while I was a reader. So I wanted to become a professor and continue my research and teaching. So during that time, there was a huge policy change in the UK, government policy change. A lot of universities, including ours, was in a bit of difficult situation.
Okay.
And my research included business process reengineering, knowledge management, ERP systems, lots of those kinds of things. And I was also helping aerospace companies through research projects, how to reduce costs and all kinds of those things. So my university were aware of my research.
Okay.
So basically they asked, why don't you do this and help the university?
Apply it to the university
apply it
itself.
to the university. That was not my intention.
Oh, wow.
That's never on my mind. But anyway, I was asked to do that and given a role of director of strategy to do that. Very difficult because doing for a commercial entity is different
the
from
decision making and the whole process is very different compared to a
the
university.
whole unions and all kinds of things chip in and very difficult. But anyway, we have achieved cost savings, significant cost savings, and made the university sustainable, healthy financially.
Wow.
I led that project, reporting directly to the vice-chancellor at the time. And then said, I've done my job. Can I go back to my research career? I said, no.
We've got another project for you.
Now we need to, really improve the quality of education. So I was given the academic leadership,
charge.
the whole academic charge for the university.
Wow.
As executive dean,
So where all the programs would report
everything.
into you.
All the deans were reporting to me.
Okay.
All the 3 faculties and deans reporting to me. So I, at very young age, I got that role. And I was quite motivated because now you can have a larger impact, right? You're doing your own thing, winning a lot of funding for research. You have your own PhD students and all of that, research team. But now you can actually change at a much larger scale. I think when I entered that senior leadership role, I think slowly you are now looking things at a bird's eye view. The whole university.
Larger spectrum.
Faculty of health, faculty of technology, faculty of business, all of those, you're able to see. And also every year, almost 6,000 to 10,000 students pass by, through the university,
the system,
in various years, various programs, degrees, masters, and so on. And then you really feel that by improving the quality of education and by changing certain things, you can actually make a huge difference in thousands of lives. Now that's when I think it started kicking in terms of, I think this is where you could have a lot of impact. This is where, like yourself, the journey you yourself had from parents who didn't even finish
schooling.
And our university had a lot of first generation university goers in the UK, university goers. So that really motivated me to stay in that leadership team and continue the path of making university better. And after assistant vice-chancellor academic, I became pro-vice-chancellor, and then I became deputy vice-chancellor of the university, leading the whole academic function for almost 6 to 8 years. So I think during that time, slowly it started occurring in me that if you could if you could really change 10,000 students and their journeys, their education, their quality, their employability, what if you can go back and actually do it at much bigger scale? Contribute something to the field of education in India. And I think that's where it started.
Was it seeded in the idea that you always wanted to do something in India? Or was it like seeing how you were able to create an impact in the UK? You said, okay, I would rather create this impact in India. I mean, what was the...
I think probably to do something in India, I'm not saying specifically in education, to come back and do something in India was always there. always there, because somehow I felt my home is this.
Yeah.
One thing that highlighted in my own subconscious is, even though I became eligible to take British citizenship in 2012, my
Yeah.
whole family, I
Yeah.
was on permanent residency, equivalent to green card in
Green
the US.
card, yeah.
I became eligible in 2012, but I just couldn't
Yeah.
take that step of
Yeah.
giving up my Indian citizenship and
Yeah.
take British
Absolutely.
citizenship. So it was always there in my subconscious to go back
Yeah.
home,
Yeah.
what I call, this place, India, Hyderabad, my home. So it was always there, but actually doing something in education and believing in the transformative power of education, I think that occurred during my leadership years at the
University.
at the
Especially starting from when you became a reader.
yeah. I
Very
think
interesting.
and when I took up the executive dean and then pro vice chancellor and then deputy vice chancellor.
Yeah.
And in fact, at that time when I became pro vice chancellor, I was the youngest pro vice chancellor in the UK.
Okay.
I think the journey was fantastic. I was able to contribute, and during my academic leadership tenure, we improved from something like 120th rank to top 50 universities in the UK.
Oh, wow.
In Guardian League table.
That's got to be a very short time frame to
about
be
5-6
able to
years
jump
time.
that much in
We
terms of
improved a lot of
rankings.
metrics, retention, employability, and so on and so forth. Yeah, a lot of wonderful things. Great journey. Yes, with a lot of difficulties, a lot of tough decisions, and so on. But it was a great journey there.
But you're already in a position. This makes me very curious, and I know a lot of our listeners, because there are head of schools, principals, and teachers listening, and everyone has that constant battle with themselves, inside them. That, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Am I in the right area where I can create an impact? Right? And hearing you, they will think like, okay, here's a guy who's creating impact on thousands of students already, right? And sort of reaches a succession, almost like a very steep trajectory in a career that a lot of people would trade off in a second to be in your shoes, and reaching to a high milestone in your career. I believe you were even offered the vice chancellor position for your university. To be in that position and to think of wanting to leave all of that behind and come back to start something from scratch in India, that takes a lot of courage, and a lot of working the ecosystem around you, whether it's personal, family, and everyone around you. Just walk us through that.
Yeah, I think, when you're very clear in your mind what you want out of your own life. I know it's a very big fundamental question,
Yes.
but when you're really clear what you want out of you, from your own life, then I think a lot of these big questions get answered, over the time, not immediately, but over the time. So yes, my university there back in the UK, it was preparing me for becoming a vice chancellor. It was obvious because they trained me they put a lot of resource in training me.
Yeah.
The board was aware that I was groomed to become that in a year or two, a couple of years' time. All was set.
Yeah.
But then I thought, I more or less am already doing that job, right? It's
just the validation and getting the title of it, but effectively
yes,
you were
I would
already
have been
doing
the
it.
youngest vice chancellor in Britain,
Yeah.
if I waited for a year or two to become. But then the pull from India was quite strong, very strong.
Yeah.
Nobody asked me. But that pull to go back and do something. But also there are some technical reasons which I think will help some people, I think, on this. See, when you hit something like 44, 43, 44, that's a good time to actually take risks. Of course, you can take risks prior to that, but you are in a peak at that time.
Yeah.
After that, your ability to take risks slowly
starts to diminish.
Interesting. I think, personally, I think that. Because then, especially if you're in a different country, right?
Very true.
So your children start growing up, in a couple of years' time, they'll finish schooling, might go to university, and then coming back with them becomes really, really difficult.
Yeah.
And I have seen many NRIs, many first generation Indians settled in the UK. I looked at them and they said, everybody wants to go back to India. Trust me on
But
this.
nobody's able to take the action.
Because if you don't take action at the time, and I think once you hit 50, children go to university and they settle.
It's done.
It started becoming very difficult. So that was a technical reason as well, where I thought now is the choice.
Yeah.
Whether you want to settle in the UK, take up this role and do whatever you're doing in a world-class way, or go back and do something. Yes, it's risky.
Of course.
Yes, you're putting your family at risk. You're putting your financial aspects at risk. All of those are there. But as I said, deep in your heart, you always have an answer. You just don't want to hear to it. I think, so probably I might sound a bit philosophical in that, but I think it is true.
So what was that why for you? Being in India was the why, or was there something more in depth to?
Yeah, I think Daniel Kahneman, a Nobel laureate in economics, he did some research some time ago, and around late 90s, I think mid 90s, late 90s, after something like $70,000-80,000. It may be $150,000 per year income. The money doesn't proportionately increase your happiness.
Yes.
Right? Worldwide. I'm not talking about in the US.
Increasing income has a diminishing happiness quotient.
It may not diminish, but it doesn't increase. So after a certain point, actually your happiness, you need to find happiness from other things.
Other sources,
the deeper goals, meaning of life and those kinds of stuff. So as I said, there were 2 or 3 strong things. One, the pull to come back to India. I thought I learned something over the 2 decades working in a world-class education system. That's one. And I can contribute something meaningfully in the field of education in India. 2, technically the time was kind of, I thought, running out. So I have to do it now. And 3rd, probably equally important, if 1,000 people were already doing what I intended to do, there was no need for me to do that same thing. So as I said earlier, there's a significant deeper gap that India is not producing pioneers, entrepreneurs, path breakers for tomorrow, whether it's business, science, technology, whatever that is. We're not doing it at a scale of our population.
Absolutely.
Because our education system lacks that kind of fundamental skills, fundamental attitude, development in children, that fundamental holistic development in children. So those are the questions, or those are the factors that really motivated me to come back.
So the clarity you had, the timing got pushed because of things happening in the UK for you, that you decided like, okay, I can't wait any longer. And I mean, how did that work for you?
Yeah, I think once it became clear, I kind of discussed with my family and already had a kind of solid plan to establish Manchester Global School here.
Okay.
And we had also pooled family, friends, investment, because these are not the things that you can just think about it and
it just happens on a whim,
catch an aeroplane and then come back.
You
need to do some deeper planning, and that's quite important.
So you had started the planning even before you had actually quit the
at least
role.
At least 6 months. 9. See, the fundamental plan was there in your mind for a long time, right? The technical planning of what to
execution
do,
plan,
execution planning
has to be put in
you
place.
Go, what is the step 1, step 2, step 3? That kind of technical planning for about 6 to 9 months I have done, but fundamentally the plan was there. In your heart and mind.
No, this will be very insightful, because I know I personally listen to and hear a lot of educators getting into the space as an add-on to what they might be having multiple businesses and then they want to add education as a vertical. So that scenario is there. Then a lot of next generation educators are coming where, the parents started the school and now the next generation is taking it on to the next level. And I think there's different challenges as a founder versus someone who's going to take the family legacy forward. In your experience of setting
Yeah.
the school from scratch, and given that you had such extensive background in sort of the world of education, even though it was higher education, what would be your recommendation, or what is your sort of experience sharing of things, what you plan versus what actually happens? What to be prepared with, what to keep in mind as people maybe thinking or at the cusp of taking some of those risks of either expansion of new campuses or even starting out into education?
Yeah, I think that's quite a loaded question.
Yes.
I'll try to break it into a couple of pieces. First is core intention. Whether you are a first generation entrepreneur getting into the field of education, whether you are taking over from the previous generation who already built a group of institutions or an institution, whether you are starting it as a vertical out of your portfolio of businesses, doesn't matter. All are welcome. I always believe that all of those mindsets or the roots are required, because India requires that investment in education, financially, emotionally, technologically, knowledge-wise. It requires, right? And I think it's really essential that various people through various routes come and invest their effort in education. I think it's very, very needed. Now, the core intention. What is your core intention, right? Yes, I understand it's a business. If somebody says it's not, it's unfortunate. Because unless you achieve sustainability as a business, an educational institution will collapse. Now, at Manchester Global School, if you go onto a rooftop and just within 3 kilometers radius, there are at least 15 engineering colleges that were shut down.
Oh, wow. Shut down?
Yeah, shut down.
Okay.
Right? So if somebody doesn't see it as a business and a sustainability factor and all of those aspects, so I really believe that it's a business as well, because you need to make it sustainable and for generations to come. Okay, so you need to have that mindset of financial management, discipline, and all of that. So treat it as a business. But before that, treat it as an educational institution that's going to change something, that's going to contribute to the society. That has to be the first factor. Business, treating it as a business has to be a second factor. Now, that's really important in terms of your intention. With what reason you are entering into the education, right? And with what reason you are taking from the previous generation, you are taking the group of institutions. When you have other opportunities, you can go and start a company to produce stuff, whatever, or real estate or whatever that is. So first is a core intention. I really believe that people should have the core intention of their commitment to education and contributing to the society through education. That has to be the number one. The second, of course, is business. People want something out of it, to sustain the institutions and also sustain themselves. That is also a factor. And if you do it well, you can achieve that business sustainability. What I observe is lack of the first factor. I think that's where a lot of people get confused. They enter into education and they expect business sustainability or returns in 2 years, 3 years, and then they get disappointed once things don't go the way they wanted, and a lot of issues because of the mindset and lack of that attitude of the core intention. So I wouldn't say advice, but from my own experience and thought process, I would say that if you have that core intention of being an educationalist who is going to contribute to the societal change, positive change, and second, business and sustainability, I think you got it. But if you are thinking of, okay, I already have 5 businesses which are successful, and now I want to get into education and make truckloads of money very quickly, or sell it off to some foreign investor.
That's happening.
I'm not saying those are wrong, but what I'm saying is I don't think that should be the core intention. That shouldn't be the number one factor. I'm not saying don't sell it, don't be a successful educational business. But what I'm saying is getting into the education with that as a number one intention to make truckloads of money or run away after selling things to people. I don't think.
Yeah, no. What I'm really hearing is a very big clarity on intent, and most importantly, that intent should be backed by a lot of patience. When you were just talking about like, hey, I'm not building this for 1 year or 2 years or next 5 years. This is something that there is an intent of an impact to be created, and you're prepared to even take action today for something that may yield into an impact 25 years from now. And if you have that sort of horizon and clarity, only then you would have that intent part solved. And obviously, to be able to sustain for that long, you will have to take care of the business end of things.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you won't make it to those 25 years, which may be needed to achieve your impact. So I think that's very important for people to understand that.
I think that's absolutely correct. And I think, and a lot of people are entering with that mindset as well, that
Yeah,
where,
absolutely.
they have that intention to contribute to the society change, transformation through education, offering great quality education. There are a number of people, and I'm pleased that there are so many people are entering that field. But, that's what I would advise, whoever wants to enter, whichever route,
Yeah.
whether it's diversification of business, taking over from their forefathers or before generation, or, a new entrepreneur getting into education.
What's a better route? I know, and I know you struggled with this, or you deliberated about higher education versus K through 12. So I want to roll back on that first for a second. Can you just peel one more layer onto? I know you wanted to catch the students early, to create a higher impact, but that means the waiting time is even longer. That's in some ways is the harder route, and it's very counterintuitive for someone who's had such amazing experience with university to even think it's like very contrarian approach. It seems like. Just walk us through that, like.
Yeah. So I think probably I'll walk us through what we're doing at Manchester Global School. Okay. So, having a great ambition is a good thing, but starting the journey towards that ambition sometimes can be very difficult. So, when we started Manchester Global School here in Hyderabad, we defined very clear aspects of how we achieve the goal of producing, growing pioneers, leaders, pathbreakers for tomorrow's society and industry. That's the goal. And then we said how, the how part.
Yeah.
And we made it as simple as possible so that anybody can understand how we're going to achieve. So the first factor we defined is world-class education with great teachers. Now, the second, all three are equally important, but the first, I think, you will not be able to achieve anything without great teachers. So I really believe, as a teacher myself, world-class education with great teachers. The second, holistic development of the child. Yes, you teach good math, science, English, mathematics, everything. But also, while doing that, you focus on the holistic development of the child. The third aspect is core values. How do you build core values in children? Right? I'm sure when you were going to school, at least when I was going to school, I'm older than you, people used to teach us what is good and what is bad. By the time I came out of the school, whether you did, whatever hanky-panky things, in your mind, what is good and bad.
Yeah.
Now you go to 100 schools, stand in front of the gate, give examples of good and bad, and try to ask students to differentiate whether this is good and this is bad.
It's like subjective.
And it's fundamentals, people are unable to differentiate what is good and bad. Now, core values are fast disappearing from our society.
That's what's happening. And
they're disappearing faster than in Western society, unfortunately.
In India.
In India, yes.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Respect towards teachers, parents, institutions, belief in hard work, long-term orientation about life. They want success tomorrow, right? Not building upon failures, and then succeeding in life. This long-term attitude, belief in hard work, respect, all of these core values are fast disappearing, unfortunately. So as educational institutions, we need to have, we need to do deeper work. So 3, not 5, 10, 20.
Yeah.
World-class education with great teachers, holistic development of the child, and core values.
Core values.
Yeah. So I'll just put a little bit more meat around it. World-class education, great teachers. Now, before we finished our school buildings, the first building we have completed is our staff residency. We built 50 flats to attract the best teachers from across India, some around the world. Now, you need to have that mindset. That's why I'm saying, what is your intention? So, majority of our teachers stay on campus.
Yes.
We provide not only good salaries, but also free accommodation, right? So that shows our intention. And you build quality day in and day out. It's not like you select a curriculum and then you dump on the children and then you forget it. You need to have a go at it every day, every month, every academic year. So world-class education, great teachers. The second key aspect of holistic development, I think a lot of schools want to do this, even universities level. But how, right? So we developed a framework of what we mean by holistic development of 10 key characteristics. Leadership, resilience, how to take pressures of life, how to be a team worker, communication skills, how to be an entrepreneur, how to take calculated risks. Okay, so leadership, risk-taking, financial literacy, communication skills, how to be a global citizen today, where you look at everybody with a equality, right? How to be a global citizen. All these important factors, 10 factors, we defined as life skills for holistic development. While we teach great math, science, English, and other subjects, we want to inculcate these 10 core attributes in every child in our school so that they grow as holistic individuals and are prepared for life with those skills. Because if you take even university graduates these days and see what sense of resilience they have, you hit them with a failure, they can't stand. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them. So that character of resilience, that factor of resilience is not there. Similarly, communication skills, leadership skills, calculated risk-taking attitude, not just go like a flow, for a secure job or something. So this is very closely related to our goal of producing pioneers, leaders, entrepreneurs. Because if you don't teach those life skills, those 10 core attributes, people will go into the regular jobs like, from any other school or university. So that's the second aspect, holistic development. And I believe that, when I went to school, if you pass out with great grades, you will go to a good university, land up in a good job. So those skills may not be that important. They were important even in those days, but now, with the advent of AI and so on and so forth, I think the holistic development of the child is as important. If you give 50% weightage to all the subject knowledge, English, math, science, social, whatever, I think equal weightage now today exists for holistic development of the child.
Yeah.
And the third aspect of core values is much deeper. How do you develop great citizens of tomorrow, good citizens of tomorrow? How do you inculcate that sense of values in the children? And as I said before, belief in hard work. We Indians, 15, 20, 30 years ago, we believed in hard work.
Yeah.
We knew that, deep in our hearts that it takes long time to be successful.
Yeah.
Success doesn't come,
Delayed gratification.
Yes. And all of those existed and we were taught in the schools, either formally or informally, and on all of that. Now I think we need to go back to those basic core Indian values. And I think it's really important. Respect towards parents, teachers, ability to focus your mind. Right? Just take the focus of mind as a simple factor, as a core value. People can't focus on a textbook for 15, 20 minutes. The gadget here, the gadget there. So many values are disappearing or, gradually diminishing. And I think we need to really, it's really important we need to focus on those aspects. That's good for themselves and that's good for society in general, to inculcate. So 3 simple things that we define. On a surface level, they do sound simple, but working on them day in and day out. So just for example, how do you teach resilience?
Yeah.
Right? You can't go and ask them, oh, here is a book on resilience in our library. We have a great library, but 16,000 SFT of it.
Yeah.
But, that's not going to teach them resilience.
Yeah.
You throw them in a football field, right? We have 14 different sports we built on campus.
Okay.
Football, separate cricket ground, swimming, archery, basketball, badminton, and so on and so forth. Now, the reason why we built is to achieve the holistic development. The second part, you need to, throw them in the field, in the difficult
Give
situations,
them that exposure,
and understand what is failure, what is success. All of those aspects. You can't teach teamwork by a lecture in the classroom.
Yeah.
Right. There are certain things you can teach in the classroom, like communication skills and so on. But there are many things under the holistic development you have to teach outside the classroom. And the way we built the campus here at Manchester Global School is to achieve that. Right. 14 different sports. It's not like, putting in the brochure. It's actually, those are required because not everybody loves football.
Yeah.
Not every girl, loves cricket. They might want to be an archer.
Okay.
They want to, excel in swimming and so on. Not just to win prizes, but, to develop themselves as an individual. And I think sports are important aspect of it. And that's the reason why the way we built the infrastructure, it's critical. And whether you're a parent or a management or somebody, an entrepreneur in education, I think you need to think deeply. I'm not saying everybody has to have the same goal. Somebody might focus on something else. But make sure that whatever vision that you have, your infrastructure, your people, your principal, your hires, all support that. And I think that's very important. The core values part, it's a very, very long-term thing, right? You can't just, put a pipe into your head and say, these are the values I'm feeding today. So I think it happens the way the teachers behave, the way management behave, the way you inculcate the sense of camaraderie in children and so on and so forth. All of that happens over a long period of time.
Interesting. And, I'm just, while you were speaking about the exposure to the sports and teaching them resilience and different values through exposure to things in the classroom, or more importantly in the field in a sports environment. It's always curious to evaluate effort versus outcome, right? What is the effort that the coaches or teachers or the school is putting in, and what is the outcome expectation? Because we're also living in a time where parents, and I've said this before, parents want their child to be the best academician and a best athlete, and it's that Sarvagun Sampan concept is very ingrained. And it puts a lot of pressure onto the school, onto the parents, onto the children, and that is further hyped by the social media influence world we are in. Everyone's got a very perfect life on Instagram, and that makes it even harder as an institute where it's a aggregation of all so many emotions across children. So how does one school think about solving for these?
Yeah, I think parents and teachers both play a critical role in this. I think you're absolutely right. I think there are a lot of complications with this kind of culture developed in the education system that, suddenly, you drop your child in a good school and you expect everything changed in a year or 6 months for that matter. I think that culture exists in India. This developed really acutely over the last 2 decades, 15 years especially. I think you can't blame. People want, their children to succeed. And that's a very good goal for every parent. Okay, that's quite important. Now, if you take sports as an example, 30 years ago, most of the schools used to give prizes for the first winner, second winner, and third winner. Nowadays, not in our school, but in many schools, they give prize to everybody.
Everyone's a winner.
Even for participating, you get a... People don't know what is the difference between a failure and a win, right? When people fail, they go back and they reflect automatically. What went wrong? You don't need to teach them.
You learn the most in your failures.
I would have had actually, didn't hit that ball for a catch. What a mistake I have done. Somebody tells them, we lost because of you, missing that catch. Right? All of those aspects. So there is a retrospection goes on, and there's next time we shouldn't be doing this. We should change our approach. Now, you don't need to teach them that. But now if you go and give prizes to everybody, right? There's nothing to reflect upon. So first of all, people have to understand what is failure, what we can learn from them, and so on. So when you are introducing any sport or any competition for that matter, you need to make them understand that it's okay to fail. It's okay to learn. In fact, it is more important that you learn from failures and be successful next time or time after that, right? So that is quite important to have that, and we make sure that in our school, whether it's sports competitions, whether it's any competition, we don't do that. We don't give prize to anybody like chocolates, right? So I think that's the second aspect. Having the sports fields, the facilities is one thing. Getting good sports coaches is quite important. Now, this is our second
and
year.
most challenging.
Yeah, this is our second year for Manchester Global School for IB and CBSE. We have both curricula. And we have 400 children roughly at the moment. And we have 10 sports teachers for 400 children. In fact, we're taking another one, so it becomes 11. The reason we want is, we want every child to pick their own sport. Try everything, but pick your own sport so that you enjoy it.
Yes.
Now, that's quite important. See, if you throw everybody in the swimming pool or everybody in the cricket field, they may not like it. But if you give a choice, and at the same time, you let them enjoy first, enjoy the sport, develop that sense of, wonder, that sense of camaraderie, that sense of team play in that sport, and then they will get attracted to something, and they can go further and further in that sport. So having right framework, so that first the sport is for enjoyment, physical fitness, and then competition, winning the prizes, and then comes your aspect of coaches, right coaches for the right sport, and then things will start moving forward. Yes, your school will go and win, cups in that competition and this competition, but that has to be a byproduct, right? That has to be a byproduct, right? You can't coach somebody for an Olympic medal, right? You have to grow them towards a Olympic medal. That's what I believe. So I think that sports can teach a lot, in that philosophy.
Do you think our schools need to also have a deliberate discussion on how to absorb failure, how to learn from failure? Because I feel often we are very, like you were also saying, we're always focused on celebrating success. Should there be a need to, for lack of a better word, make failure also just as important as success, and that will give that sense of understanding to our students that, it's okay to fail. It's okay not to be perfect from various aspects of things. Do you think that's an active dialogue that needs to happen with our students at schools, and how should one go about it?
I don't think it's an option. Frankly speaking, I don't think it's optional at all. We must teach them that, right? See, a school is a controlled ecosystem.
Yes.
Okay, the world is not.
School is a simulation.
School is a controlled ecosystem where you can control a lot of things. Successes to a certain extent, failures, coaching, sports, communication, lots of things you can control. But at some point, this kid is going to go to university after 18. He's going to probably not be there, with parents. They will make independent choices. They'll go roam around the streets, or travel. All of this happens when they turn 18. Now that is less controlled ecosystem.
Yes.
Once you finish your degree, you might end up in the real world of work. That's completely, a real world. There's no control. Right? You don't have a clue who your colleagues will be.
Very well said.
You don't have a clue who your boss is going to be. Right? And how they are going to behave. So now you are bound to face those failures, difficulties, and so on. Now, why you are simulating a system where there's nothing of like that? Right? So you're actually preparing them for a ultimate failure. Rather than, so it's a must that children have to go through in a kind of real world scenarios and understand what failures means, understand how to address the failures, how to grow, despite of failures. Now that kind of culture you have to imbibe very quickly. And also, it is a bit sensitive, but I'll say it, right? The grading inflation in India.
Man.
Now, do you know why that happens? The grading inflation happens because the school want to tell a lie that your child is okay, he is successful because of the grading inflation, right?
100% of the students are above 90%.
How can that be? right? A 90% means you are well above, average.
Yeah.
So it's a relative mark. Most of the curricula now it's not an
feel-good
absolute
drug.
mark. So basically, I think we are setting something that is very dangerous. And I always, in various fora in education, when I speak, I talk about this quite a lot. Grade inflation. We have to kill it.
Interesting.
We have to kill it, because then what you are saying to the parents is not showcasing the real situation of the child, right? If somebody is getting 35 and failed, you have to show them,
Yeah.
right? See, some people will get 35 and fail, but you have to tell as a school, as a teacher, as a class teacher, what am I going to do about it? And as a parent, what you need to do about it. Now, if you don't tell them and give a 60 or 70, parents think that he's all good. This little girl is all good in 6th class.
Yeah.
No, they're not. Yes, majority of them are pretty good probably, but they have to show the reality of it. And then, because when you identify the failures, then you can do something about it.
Yeah.
Also, children will understand, okay, I failed in science or Spanish language or whatever. So therefore, I need to work hard at it. Now, if the teacher passes them by fake marks, grade inflation,
Yeah.
how you're going? So there's a evidence, clear evidence.
So it's lack of awareness. You're basically skipping the awareness
Yes.
part of it by giving the grade. How do you feel about, I mean, in the Western world, you're seeing, like, especially at the university level, even the entrance, like US, a lot of universities have done away with SAT scores as a consideration for admissions and all. I mean, I want to take that concept and apply to schools in India. Having examination, like a lot of even our national boards and all are saying, okay, no exams till this grade. And I know some schools which have a policy like we don't test and all that until a certain grade. How do you think that impacts? Because, the opposite side of what you were just saying about, okay, you give them a real grade, like this is where you belong. But that also sort of creates a divide between the student body. Like, okay, this is a child who is really poor in education, and it becomes part of their self-belief, which is not right. How do we control for that?
Yeah, so I think you're right. There is a truth in that,
Yeah.
but we can avoid that issue of, okay, these are weak students, these are poor
Yeah.
students, these are fantastic students.
Yeah.
We need to avoid that.
Yeah.
Now, how you do that? So, for example, at least Manchester Global School, and also in my previous life as Deputy Vice-Chancellor of University of Bolton, we did a few things, okay? So, what you need to do is something called a gap analysis, or what we call academic diagnostics, right? It's a word now people know, but 20 years ago, 15 years ago, we started those stuff. Now, not every child is weak in everything. I don't believe it.
100%.
Right? And you know that, somebody may be good at languages, and don't expect every kid to be good at everything.
That's the most important message.
And you need to make parents digest that.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's say, but you need to have fundamental mathematics, fundamental sciences, understanding of that once you are going through the school process. So you need to understand, traditionally what happens is, a child, this girl is weak in mathematics, this boy is weak in English, something like that. They brand it. Okay.
Exactly, the branding.
Yeah,
of it,
but the next most important question, which part of mathematics this girl is weak in? How many?
You cannot be a blanket statement.
Yeah. How many parents actually go and ask that question when they go to PTMs?
Yeah.
Right? Which part of English? Is it verbal? Is it spoken? Is it written English? Which part of English my boy is weak in? Right? It's an important question, because the immediate knee-jerk reaction of parents is, my girl studying whatever 8th class, 9th class is weak in mathematics. I'll send her to tuition. Now, this girl goes to tuition. The tuition teacher repeats everything in the 9th class mathematics, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have a clue which part of mathematics. The school has more understanding.
Yeah.
Now, I made a golden rule, at least at Manchester Global School, that we need to understand which part of mathematics, if somebody is weak in mathematics, which part of math. Is it calculus? Is it statistics? Is it trigonometry? Is it geometry?
Yeah.
Which part, right? Once we are able to answer that question, the next step becomes easy. So we do the gap analysis of academic diagnostics each grade.
So it's like personalized assessment
Yes,
for every child.
yes. And by the first term, we'll understand where they are going right, where they're going wrong, and you do the measures to clinical measures to address those issues. We simply call them clinics.
Yeah.
Mathematics clinic, science clinic.
Oh.
So it's diagnostics and clinics.
Yeah.
So this is not something we invented over the night. We implemented this, my previous university for almost a decade.
Okay.
Okay, with quite a bit of success.
Yeah.
I'll just give a couple of examples there. The first part at the university I worked before I took the leadership position as academic leader. 21% of students dropped out in the first year of their degree. 21%.
Wow.
If 100 students joined, by the end of the first year, 21% dropped.
Dropped.
In the second year, another 18 to 20% dropped. By the third year, finishing the degree, less than 50% actually passed. Right? And we were what we call a widening participation university, where you attract children, first generation university.
Yeah, you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah. So now from that, by introduction of several things, academic diagnostics, clinics, and a number of other things, and personalized learning, and so on and so forth, over the 5 years' time, our dropout rates in the first year went from 21 to 18 to 17, then 15. By the time I left, we were almost on national average. We were worst university in the UK for retention.
Wow.
when I took over. But it's a team effort. A lot of people
Yeah, of
contributed a lot of things. But I was able to say that a lot of expertise we developed there, we started implementing in this school from the day one. So it's not like overnight something you developed. Oh, I went to a conference and I got this idea and now we're going to change everything. It's not like that. It's a deeply ingrained expertise in how to improve the quality of education, real teaching and learning on the ground, all of those aspects.
Was these dropouts primarily because these students were anyways first generation college goers? Was that a big factor to it, or was there something about the experience in the college?
Both.
Okay.
It was actually, you defined it correctly. I think it's both. But some universities did not have the problem of first generation university goers. Students
so the dropout rate was automatically by system will be low. Yeah,
students
sense.
From very tough family backgrounds and so on and so forth. We had brilliant students, of course, all of that, but quite significant proportion came from those backgrounds.
I want to switch gears a little bit. And I want to really extract, because I know you've done such tremendous work at your university in the UK, and a lot of it went into transforming the university, whether it is reducing the dropout rates or, organizing the academic excellence that led to, being a top 50 university. The word that comes to my mind is transformation, right? And I know a lot of our educators in India are going through that journey, whether it is the founder who's sort of hit plateau, or whether it is the next generation who's coming up with all these fresh ideas, getting exposed to overseas universities, doing management education course at Harvard and all of those fun stuff. But then when they come back to their institute in India, whether it's a school or a university, a lot of reality checks comes into play. A lot of challenges are there. Like, okay, I have these ideas, but it's like half of it is out the door because you can't even, that's a non-starter to even think about, right? Yeah. So I'm sure you face similar challenges in your transformational journey, and like you said, you were one of the young leaders in very young for the role or responsibility you were put into that place. So I feel a lot of people will resonate with your experience. If you can share some of those anecdotes on challenges you face and how you came about overcoming those.
Yeah. So challenges exist in the United States, in Africa, in the UK, in India.
Yeah.
The challenges may be different. But anywhere, if you are trying to build a world-class institution, I think definitely you'll face challenges. If you're trying to build a mediocre institution, not many. Okay. So, so just going back to my previous life. So one example I would give, transformational change. Because you need to connect what is required in the society. Always you need to link back, whether it's employment market, the society. If you develop a degree in basket weaving and a lot of students join, pay a lot of money, okay, fine. I have a lot of respect for basket weaving, but do you really need a degree for that? So one example I would give is, we wanted to improve health education.
Okay.
As an example, health education significantly.
Okay.
Nursing, physiotherapy, sports rehab. That's one area we want to improve. I'll take that example because one of the biggest challenge was the number of nursing places, like medical places.
Yeah.
Number of nursing places were heavily restricted in the UK.
Okay.
Okay. Back at the time.
Okay.
Okay. And the deficit of nurses is huge.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, as somebody, you say there are loads of nursing jobs, and because there are no people, United Kingdom is bringing nurses from India, Philippines, from everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, they have to undergo the training and so on. Now, on the supply end, there are a lot of students who wants to study nursing, but there are no places. And you think in a very simplest system, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Why you can't increase
Where's the black
places?
hole?
Where's the black hole? Why are you wanting not? There's so many business management graduates and this graduate, that graduate, this degree, that degree. Why you can? So we went and asked why can't we? So said, well, the places are restricted because unlike other degrees, nursing degree is fully funded by the government. Right? As an example. So they don't pay the fees, government pays the fees. So government itself is actually a black hole there.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So then we went and asked, why can't? Because for every degree student in the United Kingdom, unlike many countries, the government gives the loan to study.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Yeah.
There is no application eligibility. If you are
You're a citizen,
you're a citizen, you want to study a degree, they will give you a loan.
Yeah.
Okay. You will only pay back that loan when you get certain income level.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, it's cancelled altogether.
So if you lifelong remain below that income level, there's no payment.
There's no payment, zero
Wow.
payment.
Very interesting.
Okay. So that's a very progressive policy and it's a wonderful policy. I really believe that. Okay. So, but nursing students, government pays the whole money without any loan. Now what we asked, I'm going into too much of detail, but when we study, because when you see a challenge, first thing you do is you go deeper.
Yeah.
If somebody says, no, you can't take more nursing students, okay, thank you. I'll get on, I'll go and have a glass of wine in the evening.
Yes.
No, we didn't. So, no, we actually want to increase the number of nursing places. So, they said...
So this is similar to number of seats in the university.
Yes.
Allocated seats.
Yeah, allocated seats. So, what we did is, we broke the mold. With the help of our dean in the Faculty of Health at the time, and we went directly to, because you need placements in the hospitals.
Okay.
Just you can't teach nurses in the classroom.
Yeah,
so you went there and we had direct relationship with hospitals, and we said, look, the students who will come to us, they will take the loan from the government. They'll pay the fees like anybody. So you're increasing the capacity, which is good for the society because there's so many thousands of nurses are required.
Yeah.
So first time in the UK, we created a system where nurses can take the loan from the government and study, pay their fees to the university. So there's no government funding issue there.
Okay.
Yeah, you see that?
They took an independent loan.
Yes. No, see, the same government loan. But previously, the remaining nursing students, the government is paying, without any loan, they are paying like a bursary.
Okay.
Yeah?
It was a free ride.
Yeah, it's a free ride.
Now this is a loan that you're actually going to pay back to the government if you reach that income level.
And every nurse will reach that income level.
Of course.
Because they're very
the
well
path
paid.
is that way,
path is there. Job is there like on a golden plate. Right. So we started with 25 nursing seats in the first cohort.
Yeah.
Now, second year passed by, more hospitals came because they need the nurses.
Yeah.
So
the demand is very strong.
the demand is there. So we're importing nurses. So this is pretty good, homegrown and all of that. So then, I think by the time I left, we had something like 1,500 nurses.
Oh my God.
From 25 nurses.
That would have never happened had you gone around the...
And what's really, really fascinating is the government said, if this university can do this, every university can do that. So we are removing the funding for the whole this thing.
Policy change.
Policy changed. So every nursing student now also pays and like any other student.
Yeah.
So that's one example. We did a lot of things. We did motorsports engineering. We did physician associate. We did logistics, supply chain courses. Number of these courses. And so using that challenge, what I would like to say is every country, doesn't matter where you operate, has certain set of challenges specific to that geography or economy. And you need to find out what is that, study it, and address that challenge. And I strongly believe, as educationalists, we need to have the philosophy that if there is a problem, there is a solution. If there is no solution, there is no problem. That's the mindset we need to. So I think coming to India, from getting the permissions to acquiring the land, building the construction, from there recruitment of teachers, every day there was a problem. Right? But you see that as natural, right? And I think it's important. That's why I said if it's an ambitious, world-class institution that you're trying to build, you're bound to have challenges.
Yes.
If you want to settle, 5, 10, 15, mediocre, above average schools, then, you'll get anybody. See, because every step is, okay, there is a good mathematics teacher. He's demanding, 65,000 rupees or 80,000 rupees. The next guy will only come for 60,000 rupees. I'm just giving a simple example.
What decision would you make? In any business.
Yeah, any business. And, everything, yes, the next big challenge we don't know, right? Artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And just here, I think it's a big area that's exploding in the education field. I heard a teacher, very experienced teacher, I won't name, somebody on one of those fora, one of the conferences. I heard that, this teacher started saying that over the next 5 years, we plan on reducing our teacher count by 30%, and we're going to introduce AI-enabled robots.
Oh, God.
I said, have I lost my mind, or does this principal lost her mind? And because AI, like printing press that was invented centuries ago, is a tool.
Yes, of course.
AI is not an educator. People misunderstand that. Okay, AI will give answers, but who will teach the students what is the right question to ask?
Absolutely.
Right?
No, this is very interesting you say, because, I was in conversation with someone else and he said it very beautifully that, it's not that the AI will replace teachers, for using this teacher's example or principal's example, but there is reality to the fact that teachers who are AI enabled will likely replace teachers who are not. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
It's a multi-layered aspect. One, even in the next at least 30 years, because I'm going to see hopefully the next 30 years, I don't think any teacher will be replaced by AI.
No, agree.
But coming to the second question, I think two things are happening. The teachers who are effectively using AI, they're going to be your star teachers.
Yes.
Right? Generally, they're already star teachers. They will become even better teachers.
Yes.
Right? Then you have sometimes difficult teachers who doesn't want to put that effort. Now, those teachers are going to really struggle and those schools are also going to struggle having those teachers because it makes them lazy. They'll use that to produce question papers, their PowerPoint presentations. They'll use AI. Using them is okay, but not improving them, what AI gives. I'm not talking about just teachers, but university professors in the US, everywhere in the world, they're not even bothered to edit the slides and the stuff that they're producing. Now you ask AI to mark the question papers. There is no contextuality if you do that between student and you and the exam paper. So now there are going to be very much significant difficulties. This is another challenge that's going to pop up for educational leaders in the next year, 2 and 3. How you are going to implement, how you are going to control and make sure that AI helps the children, not AI takes away the hard work from the teacher.
The agency has to be with the child and the teacher.
Absolutely. Still, and I can already see in several places, not only in India, that AI is doing significant damage in terms of teachers' ability to put the effort and come up with great classes. I'm not saying all, but some. I think we need to make sure that we address that challenge. So I give a couple of examples. So all you could see is without challenges, there's no institution. Right? So when an opportunity comes, when the problem comes, doesn't matter what the challenge is. I think how you're going to adapt it as a leader. And sometimes finances are involved, but sometimes it has nothing to do with finance.
It's just organizing things.
Organizing the things, your philosophical perspective, how you build a world-class teaching and learning and so on. So I think that's quite important at the moment.
Yes.
In terms of the AI in education.
And we're touching two things. We were talking about transformation and how to handle transformation at any institute, whether it's a new institute or it's a institute which has been a legacy institute and now looking for that reinvention for itself, reimagination for itself. And then we started to talk about the teachers, right? And they're both very critical things that I want to capture fully. So I'll sum this up from a transformation perspective is that if you're looking to do any big or small transformation at your school, you have to have a very clear intent of what you're trying to achieve, number one. And it goes back to that whole patient element as well, that it's not going to be an overnight transformation. And how you approach changes, keeping in mind different stakeholders, understanding what's important for them, and how to help them see, call it the better world, if you may, is going to be key. Have I summed that up? Anything that I missed in that
I
from
think
a transformation before?
I think you summarized quite well. The only thing I would add to the last point,
Please.
the people aspect, how you make it visible to the people around.
Yeah.
I think the hiring process,
Yeah.
whether it's the teachers or admin staff in the school, you need to be very, very committed to the hiring process.
Yes.
And one rule I always keep in mind is you need to assume that you're hiring them for life. You have to assume. Whether they state or not, that's a different matter. Right? You need to assume.
That's your core driving principle.
That's your core. So if you're going to recruit somebody, you need to have the philosophy of hiring them for life.
Wow.
Right? Now, if you have that attitude, you will not take a mediocre person. Right? That's number one. Now, that will result in significantly good quality people and people with good intentions coming into the teaching world and so on, especially teaching staff.
Yeah.
Next, they need to understand where you are traveling, what's your vision and so on, very clearly in the simplest terms. And when you're achieving the transformation, it's quite important. Let's say you have taken over a legacy school from your family, or you started a new school. You started with a vision, or your family has started this vision. It ran well.
Yeah.
Now you have to adapt. New things came up.
Yes.
IB, new curricula came up. You're introducing a new curricula. But you have this staff who are working for 20 years, or even 2 years for that matter. Now, when you are trying to achieve something or achieve a change that is positive and have a positive goal, there will be a few people. Doesn't matter at which level. It could be leadership level, it could be middle level, it could be teaching, entry-level teaching level. There would be some people who will not buy it. Over the last 25 years in the field of education, in fact, our university has centers in Africa, Zambia, Malawi, Botswana, Hong Kong, Greece, Germany. They never came to UK. They studied our degrees with the partner institutions and they got our degrees. So I expanded during my tenure quite significantly for off-campus provision. The reason I'm saying that is, across the world I have observed one thing. How great, you could be a great institution. You could have great legacy for the last 50 years. There will be a set of people, definitely there will be, especially when you're achieving big transformation, who will not buy into it. Now that's where you need to make the tough decisions of letting them go.
Yeah.
Despite of your trying and trying, if people are not, in line in terms of the transformation agenda, because you need to set the agenda right. That's important. Yeah. Once you set the agenda right and it's good.
Having clarity of your agenda is obviously a precursor to taking any action.
Doesn't matter who they are. Yeah. You need to let them go. Because it's good for them.
Even if it could be your star player.
Yes. You have to let them go. Because what that does is it's good for them because they will find another institution which fits their mindset or their agenda. But if institution's agenda is clear and positive, everybody has to travel towards that agenda and you need to convince them. But despite of your convincing, if they're not, we need to.
And I feel this is more of a challenge. Education also I know in businesses for sure, when next generation takes over, that there are some of these really good performers or call them loyal team members who have got a lot of confidence and comfort from the first generation. And they've sort of in some ways become complacent going forward, but the next generation when they comes in, these feels like, okay, these 5 people are, nobody could touch them, and it becomes a huge challenge.
But I think as a next generation leader in another business or in education, one suggestion I would make is take time.
Yeah.
Right? See, your parents, forefathers believed in these guys for a good reason.
Yes.
Okay. Now you come as a young
Very
Turk,
well said.
young Turk onto the field without understanding deeply the business, deeply the market, deeply the clients and the customers. If you make rash decisions because just you got that CEO title,
Yes.
your firstborn child or whatever.
No, absolutely.
I think taking time, living the institution, and then going for those big decisions is important, because
Very well
to
said.
set the agenda, your own agenda, it will take, I would say, if you haven't taken 2 to 3 years and started setting agenda and firing people that are loyal to the institution for 20 years, I think there's something difficult going on there.
Difficult to work on. Very good. Let's drill down on teachers. Something really interesting you said earlier was that, you started your construction, you started building your school, and the first building that you make is your teacher housing, like faculty housing, right? And that showcases the importance, again, very contrarian that, if someone's starting a school, the first thing they want to do is like, okay, let me get my classroom ready. At least I can get the schools, students start to go to the classroom.
Yeah.
And then I'll figure a way to put the teachers somewhere here and there. I might still have the intent to, give them housing and all of that. But when you're doing a development of this size and you're putting your first focus on getting teachers in a proper housing, that speaks of a mindset. Right? Please walk us through that.
Yeah, it is a mindset, but also you also need to think it as a necessity. I'm not saying everybody has to go and build a teacher's housing first.
Course,
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we know that getting great quality teachers, our first of the 3 rules, world-class education with great teachers. Now, to attract great teachers, how are you going to do that? Hyderabad market is so competitive.
Yeah.
Right? It's exhausted. And you can't, there's so many good schools, residential schools and so on, and the city itself is fantastic, the high-tech city and all of that. So it's a very vibrant city attracting students from across the world.
Yeah.
Right? Now, there's a difficult aspect of competition for teachers. Okay? So you need to expand your market. It's not just the mindset, it's also there's a technical, solid reason for that. Now, how are you going to attract teachers from Raipur or Bangalore or Delhi or somewhere else? Great teachers. How are you going to attract? Now, they have to come, they need to look for accommodation and all of that. Now, there's a cost to it. So, I went back long ago, in my university when I was doing a PhD. In the 3rd year, my university gave me a job and put a golden handcuffs. Now, I'm not saying these are handcuffs, but these are proper golden handcuffs. Okay, you have the right mindset, but also how many schools are going to give a great pay for a good teacher? I'm talking for a good teacher, great pay plus free accommodation.
Yeah.
Now, once they are in, and we're providing a good work culture and all of that, there's a huge level of resistance to go out.
Absolutely.
Okay, retaining good teacher is one thing. Recruiting is one thing, retaining is another big problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we thought through that whole cycle, and that's why I said, are you recruiting teachers for life? That's quite important. Yes, despite of that, still people leave. You can't do anything about it.
Absolutely.
But a few teachers who left us, within the last 2 years, they want to come back because they did.
That's a great testimony. Yeah.
That's the case testimony, but they did not calculate the whole cost of moving. See, you went back, somebody pays 10% more, 15% more, 20% more. As a teacher, if you can't calculate, what is good for you mathematically, how are you going to teach the students?
Yeah.
Now, you realized by going there that things are not going well because you did not add up the sums.
You missed that calculation.
Yeah, what are you going to teach the students? So we don't want you back, actually.
Okay.
Seriously, why would you want somebody back who is unable to calculate what is good for them being a teacher? How are you going to teach the students?
Yeah.
So we do a lot of these, these things to understand who is a good teacher and who is not.
Yeah.
So going back that, I think it's both mindset, the culture that you are developing, the vision, but also a necessity, a practical necessity to recruit and keep good teachers.
And how do you bring that balance of that long-term vision with your teachers as well? I mean, there's one thing, we were talking earlier that you've started this not for the impact in the next, 5 years, but maybe 20 years, right? Now, a teacher may or may not be there for 20 years. A parent will certainly not be there for 25 years, right?
Yeah.
So how does that message resonate with your parents coming in and the teachers? Let's start with teachers first.
Yeah. So I think when you set up that kind of goal, with a 25, 30 years vision. That doesn't mean you wait until then. Okay, that's the first aspect, because
Progress is being made
you
every year.
achieve milestones every semester, every year. In fact, that's quite important. Now, if you don't have those milestones every year, because, for example, let's say somebody joined us in grade 9, they're going to be here for 3 years only, up to 12th, K-12,
of course.
right? So, are we saying that we don't have ambition for them? We do have ambition for them. They will still go into our, innovation center. They will experiment with robotics. They'll do that. They will learn, artificial intelligence programming as part of their whatever class. They'll go to our sky observatory and wander the sky, look at the stars, through those state-of-the-art telescopes. They go to our world-class library. So every student from the day one should get that incremental growth in terms of education, holistic development, and values.
Yeah.
And I have to say that, that watching that progress is important, because the first person who is going to say that, yes, this is happening, is neither the student nor the teacher. The parent will say that. My kid joined 6 months ago, I can see the change.
I can see the improvement.
I can see the improvement.
I can see the confidence
I
building.
can't put my finger on
what it is.
But
something is
happening to my child, and I am pleased that I made that decision.
And parents' gut feeling is the best sensory in that aspect.
In fact, they might actually get only 45 or 50 out of 100 in mathematics, but they're still content that they're making progress. Whether that's communication, confidence, number of other things, or marks in English, or other things. So I think you need to give that sense of incremental growth, incremental holistic development in the children to the parents. Now, you need to give that kind of target setting, goal setting of incremental this thing to the teachers, right? So it is the institution that takes care of the long-term part, institution as a whole, right? Because probably, some of the teachers may not be here, right? When 25 years down the line, somebody is going to go and make it big in business. They change the aerospace industry, or somebody won a next Nobel Prize in economics or physics, for that matter. Not many people will be there to see it, right? But that doesn't mean, right, oh, that goal is 30 years ago, therefore we can just relax. Incremental, visible results is a must for any school, any class, any grade. I think that's quite important. And teachers have to have that very clearly, that goal setting. Then, there is a system that takes care as you progress.
And I think I was just thinking while you were saying this, is that there's also an element of, there's a period from a time the child's going to be ready for the next controlled environment of university, and then eventually go to the real world and make that impact to the universe or to the world. There's going to be, like if someone who graduates in 2030 from your school is probably likely going to make that real world impact in 45, which sort of again adds back to your 25 years. It's not like 25 years may someone will graduate and then create an impact. That someone would have already graduated from now 25 years, you maybe 5 years from now, and then 15 years of professional progress to give an impact like that.
Absolutely. But in the meantime, you will see a lot of results.
Yeah.
Right? Just last week, we had a TEDx, Manchester Global School Youth. Yeah. And there's the 6th grader. Okay. He was giving his talk, TEDx talk.
Oh, he was a speaker.
Grader.
Yeah, okay.
And I was absolutely so proud.
Okay.
Right? I will not give all the, this thing to our school.
Yeah.
Parents worked very hard and so on.
I'm
all
sure.
the credit to the school.
Yeah.
But if you see this kid, right, that confidence with which he is speaking, I was absolutely amazed. In fact, I was so proud, I said, yes, we are on the right path. Okay, it's a combination of education, communication, confidence, everything together. You could see one kid. It's just one example, but the other kids were doing dance and other group music and other things during the TEDx event.
Yeah.
And you can just see that you're making that progress. So don't wait until a year. Significantly every month, every semester or term, and every year you need to see whether these sparks are coming out of your school. And if there are no sparks, that means you're not making progress. You need to change something in the engine room. So that is very important, and I think it's a must.
And obviously, teachers contribute to students, being ready for that, and just extending and for teachers to operate freely and being able to express their individuality as well while in the controlled environment of what the school's ethos are. Can you share some insights in terms of what are you doing differently with giving that autonomy to your teachers? Has it been impacted by your experience of running academics at the university in the UK, or what aspects of that been able to transition into the environment you're giving to the teachers here?
You see, you can't force somebody to be a good teacher in the classroom.
Of course.
You can't force. You can only train them. You can only motivate them to deliver that great teaching in the classroom. You can't force. You can force a factory worker to produce 110 gadgets instead of 100 they're producing before. But you can't produce a great teacher in the classroom delivering great classes by force. You can't. By teachers, by definition, they're autonomous. They are.
Yeah.
I think that's full stop. Now, what you can do,
Yeah.
give the clarity, provide the training to achieve those goals, that world-class quality, invest in them. Also, provide the resources for them, right? As an example, you want to teach students resilience. Sometimes the teacher might actually go take them out in the field and show them something to showcase resilience. Or somebody is teaching solar system or whatever. Okay, you can take them to the Sky Observatory and show them something. You can teaching them whatever that is, math lab, physics, chemistry, botanical gardens, whatever. Now, if the resource is there for a great teacher, it becomes so easy, right? So, the clarity of vision that teachers should understand, the training, the resources, plus freedom. Freedom is compulsory anyway. So then with those combinations, I think people can become very good teachers. And as I said, majority, some of them could be average, but they will become good over the time if you invest in these areas. Despite of all these efforts, as I said before, there will be some who are not going to change.
Yeah.
And then, at some point you need to make those hard decisions.
And how does a teacher think about progress in terms of career growth, right? As a school owner, what should we keep in mind when we think about career progression for our teachers?
I think it's a good point and also difficult one.
Yeah.
Okay. But it has to be seen at a bird's eye view level. Okay. So you have two sets of people, two mindsets very clearly, and I've observed not just here but also my previous life. Even my job in India going back to late 90s. Okay. Some people think that they have to jump every now and then to achieve growth.
Yeah.
Some people think that they can stay at one place and still achieve growth.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the second set of people for any institution are most important because they have the right mindset.
Yeah.
Right. So first mindset you can't win. Right. They might work very hard, maybe great teachers, but somebody provides a huge jump. They will jump without even thinking. Okay. But there is this mindset where there are certain people who will also wait. Opportunities might come, but they will wait. They will wait because they believe in your institution. They believe in your vision. Now, those people are very, very important for your institution because for them, you need to have a clear path of growth. Those high performers who are loyal to the institution, whether it's financially, whether position-wise, and so on. Because they have the performance. They can be used at the next level, and the next level, and the next level, and so on. And also, unlike in many other fields, there is one secret in education field.
Okay.
Many people won't follow it. They think it's too simplistic secret. Doesn't matter whether you are a middle-level manager, senior manager, coordinator, head of the department, or principal. As a teacher, you can always teach. Half of it can be teaching, which means that you can have more leadership roles embedded in that. Now, once you become the head of the department, that doesn't mean you don't need to teach.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you have a teaching load, then you can have a leadership position as half. So you can create more aspects, especially for good ones. Okay. So it's quite important you have clear paths of growth, development for your staff. But that doesn't mean you'll be able to provide every year, right? But if somebody is performing extraordinarily, and have the leadership capability, you need to promote them. As the school grows, you'll have the plenty of opportunities. And the other segment, you can't do much.
Yeah.
Because, see, and the part I observed is the high performers. I'm sure there's some research as well on this. If you take high performers A, high performers B, A being they're loyal to the institution, but equal level of performance as B, okay? B switches here, comes here, comes here. But this path is slow. But A and loyal, okay? Ultimately, the people who are in the category of loyal but high performers, ultimately they will grow faster and reach bigger heights. There's plenty of evidence for that, actually.
Interesting.
So people need to understand that. But, those people who falls in that category, it's the school's responsibility because they're loyal. They're not, always looking for jobs, but they know what's happening. But they're clever. They're high performers. They're clever. That, the colleague they left to X school down the road, they're getting this much. And, so before they ask, you need to think about them. I think that's quite important. You need to have a framework, not knee-jerk reactions. Oh, somebody wants to go hike the salary by X. No, it should not be like that.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. So let's switch something. We've talked about the teachers. We've talked about, building the institutes and all. There is an operating system, which is, call it our curriculum, right? Now, you've made a very interesting choice. I was just reading about that you've got, the national CBSE as your curriculum offering and IB, which is obviously very popular among a lot of international and premium international schools these days. Again, counterintuitive for me, given your extensive background in the UK, Cambridge is not a curriculum that, I don't know if it was not chosen by design or anything like that. So, I mean, you don't have to necessarily focus on why not Cambridge, but I would love to hear the thought process for a school when they're thinking about a curriculum. What were some of those, thought process that you guys had, and then ultimately that led you to a decision that you have?
Yeah, I think we explored a lot more curricula, not only Cambridge, International Baccalaureate IB, CBSE, state curriculum, also Kunskapsskolan, Swedish curriculum. Also, not many people know about it. We explored quite a few curricula, ICSE as well. So, in terms of IB, CBSE and Cambridge, let's take these three, okay? Going back to our goal of producing pioneers, leaders, entrepreneurs, because I'm repeating quite a few times because that's
a central theme for what you're doing.
So IB as a curriculum has much more flexibility compared to any other curricula from our perspective, from our own research perspective. So a school can modify, flex almost 30% of the curriculum in any subject.
Achha, very nice.
Right. Now, this dream, goal, vision, whatever, how are we going to inculcate that into a curricula? How are you going to inculcate that sense of holistic development like resilience, leadership, financial into the curricula? The curriculum provides a very strong background in IB, CBSE and Cambridge, all of them. But I needed that flexibility to mold the curriculum towards our vision. Okay? While taking a world-class curriculum that is regarded very highly across the world, whether it's US universities, UK universities, and Indian entrance exams is a different system, but apart from that, in the whole. So IB has very highly regarded. Okay, that's fun. It provided the flexibility. Okay, highly regarded, lots of flexibility that I needed towards traveling to that vision. And so IB was clear. Now, the next question is Cambridge doesn't provide that care. Actually, not as much flexibility as IB. In fact, the IB, to teach a chapter in 9th grade, whether it's electricity, let's say, they have to refer to 2-3 books. There's no single set book for IB. The reason is they want to force the teachers and students to explore around that aspect of electricity. What are the different types of electricity? What is good for the nature? What is the impact? What is the cost efficiency? All of that, Whereas here, you develop the theory, you read the experiments, you take the multiple choice questions or whatever. So that flexibility we needed. So IB, we are clear. Now, we could have taken Cambridge as another curriculum if we were going for two. The reason we went for CBSE is, not many people understand that. The genetic background of Cambridge or IGCSE and CBSE is same. They come from the same gene.
Same mothership.
Yeah, mothership. And not many people know that. So,
I didn't know this. Yeah.
Yes. So if you take 9th class CBSE, they have, 14 or 15 chapters.
Okay.
There's a book. Teacher opens the book.
Yeah.
They prepare. And if there's a really good teacher, they get some outside examples.
Yeah.
And it's very clear. Set out, very structured and so on. So, but at the same time, some parents prefer to have their children prepared for the entrance exams still. They want the holistic development, but also the whole aspects of Manchester Global School, but they want, them to be open-minded for Indian entrance exams and so on. Now, CBSE prepares them better because of the curriculum integration with the entrance exams. So because CBSE and Cambridge or IGCSE, they belong to the same mothership, and because we wanted to diversify in a way that it satisfies different, parent groups, we selected CBSE for Indian curriculum and IB as an international curriculum.
Interesting.
There is nothing, good or bad in it. It's fitted our...
Do you think that to change over time?
It might, but I think once you make a choice, it's a very good question. Going back to National Education Policy 2020, it provides a huge opportunity to change, develop our national CBSE curriculum further across the board.
To be more flexible. That more international.
A lot of things are happening in a positive way. I think national education policy is a game changer in terms of the policy.
Yeah.
The implementation
is another game changer.
As in the game, it's happening slowly. Because India is a huge country with so many state curriculums, CBSE, lots of complex factors. It will take time. It's happening slowly, but we really need to make it faster. Okay, so CBSE also is a fantastic curriculum. If you look at National Education Policy NEP 2020 changes, okay, that also provides global kind of curriculum and so on. But we need to train the teachers across the board and make sure that they travel towards that policy in reality. Now, what that does is, doesn't matter which curriculum you select going forward. As a school, how well you're doing it. There are great IB schools, and I have also seen some IB schools.
Yes.
There are some great CBSE schools. There are some mediocre CBSE schools. So doesn't matter which curriculum that you pick up, because all curriculum, whether it's Indian CBSE or state board, but especially CBSE, ICSE, Cambridge, IB, they're all now trying to change as globalized curricula. Okay, and a lot of initiatives were taken. So the question going forward is not changing the curriculum that you already established. It's more of how well you are implementing that curriculum, right?
So you've chosen a track. Now, how well you do within the track is the main focus.
Somebody can take IB and do it really well and keep changing as you go forward. So because IB is international curriculum, so they always introduce changes to make sure that it stays
relevant.
Relevant for 2030, 2040 or whatever going forward. So I don't see a time where now we need to change the curriculum. CBSE as an India-wide curriculum, that also going to be evolving, and NEP really puts a standard at a quite high level. So that also now we can flex and continue and satisfy those parents who want an open-minded approach towards Indian entrance exams and so on. And CBSE is a bit fit for that. So going forward, I don't see that we're going to make any big change in the curriculum adoption. And I don't think anybody should do either. There's this fad that, I'm talking about managements of the school. This school has selected this curriculum and they're doing really well. It must be because of the curriculum. Sometimes it was, but I don't think going forward, that's going to be a big factor.
Do you think that becomes more of a marketing thing also?
It did happen some time ago. I think over the last 6-8 years, IB as a curriculum has grown significantly. And that had a positive impact on marketing.
Admission. There's certain type of parents you're attracting with that.
But I also know some IB schools who are unable to recruit well.
Yeah.
And there are Cambridge schools who are unable to recruit. There's Cambridge schools who are recruited really well.
Yeah.
So the examples exist in the past. Yes, some IB schools had a marketing advantage. But going forward, just because there will be plenty of IB choice schools.
Yeah.
See, in Hyderabad, I don't know, 20 years ago, there may be 1 or 2 schools.
Yeah.
Now you have plenty of IB schools in Hyderabad alone. So just being an IB school doesn't give you the competitive advantage in the market, I don't think so. So going forward, select a great curriculum, invest in it, train your teachers, prepare the vision, or the vision integration with it, and you don't need to change the curriculum or introduce new curriculum every now and then. That's my view.
Yeah. But in your school, the track that you've chosen for your school, that's the same track every child follows, or there is some like, okay, you can at certain grade you can now go the CBSE route forward, or you continue the IB route forward?
Yeah, it's a good question, and we thought a lot about it. So
Yeah.
what we do is, IB we offer from 0 to 12, from nursery up to grade 12. Diploma.
So
So
continuum
early years,
school, basically.
early years, primary years, middle years, and diploma program.
Wonderful.
All 4.
Yeah.
So we are going to be IB continuum school
Yeah.
in that sense. The CBSE, because when I looked at a lot of research done on this, up to around grade 3 or 4, there's not much huge change in terms of the subject
Okay.
knowledge. Okay, it's more of development of the child and communication skills, basic language skills, quantitative aptitude, and so on. After 4th or 5th class, slowly the rigidity of the curriculum or the specificality of the curriculum
Starts to trigger,
grows,
yeah.
starts growing. So later years, it becomes a little bit difficult to change the curriculum. Okay, especially from IB to CBSE. Okay, so therefore, what we did is we offered 0 to 12 the whole continued
IB.
programs for IB. CBSE as an option starts from grade 4.
Acha. So till 3rd grade, though, you are definitely PYP tak you're there.
Yeah, because
Okay.
switching to CBSE at that point is not difficult at all.
Okay.
So we provide.
You
the
can
option
be less flexible, but you cannot be more flexible
Yes,
later on.
yes,
Interesting.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So there is a track from 4th that certain students may opt up to 12.
up to 12.
Okay.
And there's also that aspect where CBSE students, what I have observed, I'm not saying this is written golden rule, even up to grade 7, 8, even 9 sometimes, 7, 8, after 8th grade also, CBSE to IB, you can move.
Do you have that option?
Yeah, we have that option.
Okay.
We have option both ways, but it's much easier for somebody even after grade 8 to move into grade 9 in IB.
Okay.
However, from this side, from IB side, moving into CBSE becomes difficult.
Becomes difficult.
Yes.
Ah.
Okay.
So IB after 3rd grade is a one-way street. You
Yeah.
can't switch lanes after that.
Difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible. It becomes difficult.
But CBSE to IB, you can still make that, call it migration.
Yeah. Even in DP, you can make that migration. 11th.
So there's a lot of counseling that the parents have to go through.
I know. See, curriculum. I train our admissions counselors like myself. Because just don't say that because if you want to go to foreign university, select IB. No.
Oh God, such a
that's
big
not-
myth. Yeah.
Sorry, I have another whatever.
I'm a
talk on
CBSE graduate with.
I have a separate talk on that. That's a different matter. But I think it's a very big myth. It's not about that. It's about how the curriculum is designed. Because the purpose of this curricula and that curricula is slightly different.
Yeah. So before we move on from this, I wanna, if there was one message about how to pick the right curriculum for your school, whether you're a school owner or a head of school, principal, what would be that one thing that we should keep in mind?
I think vision factor is number one.
Yeah.
Let's put that aside.
It's by default.
Yeah, by default. Then comes your geoeconomics. Okay. Your geography and economic strata.
Yeah.
That becomes very
interesting.
important.
Yeah.
So for example, delivering an IB curriculum at a price point in a city like Hyderabad, Bangalore becomes quite easy.
Yeah.
Those price points to attract great teachers in IB, if you go to districts tier 2, tier 3
Very
towns,
difficult.
very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Because not only it's not just about the pay or anything, it's about people willing to go
Willing
there.
to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, that becomes very, running an IB school in Vijayawada is much difficult
Yeah.
than running an IB school in in Hyderabad.
Demand is already
Demand,
there here versus you have to create a demand there.
And sometimes the demand could be there, but the teachers may not be willing to go, the great teachers that you want. So the geography counts, big thing. And economic strata in that geography, the market economic strata, that's very, very important. Because you see, charging certain amount of fees and expecting to deliver great quality IB at a very low fees is very tough. It's bound to fail.
I know, and some schools sometimes take pride in, we're delivering IB at such a low price. And do you feel there, in some ways, there's injustice to the curriculum?
Injustice to the parents and students as well, to be frank. Because you see, if you're going to select a curriculum and if you don't have the whole infrastructure to support, I'm not saying the grounds and the acres of land. I'm not saying just the infrastructure in terms of teachers infrastructure.
The main thing
technological
is
infrastructure. People to use that technology and so on. So all of this, see, from grade 4, we from the school, within the fees that we charge, we provide free nutrition. Everything is built. Free uniforms, free shoes. There's no separate charge for anything. We provide every kid from grade 4 onwards an iPad. Loaded with all the e-learning material. Of course, we develop writing skills as well. But the point is, now do that, emulate that in a district, town. It will be difficult because there's not enough economic strata to support that kind of high quality education.
And as a school management, you have to be aware of which environment and context you're in. You can't just be fascinated about something and say, I'll do this here. That awareness is a very good point.
So do your research on first vision, driven by the vision. Do your research on geography, market, and so on and so forth. Because you can build a great IB residential school, but not every town is like Dehradun. See, Dehradun, people know that it's an education town. Right? Even if you build a 36th IB school in Dehradun, you might still get something. But if you, if you build a 12th IB school somewhere, I will not take any town name, but nobody knows, then it's going to be tough.
There's saturation that can come in very quickly on that.
So research, geography, market, affordability, all of those.
And that extends to obviously a very key stakeholder we've been talking about is the parent, right? Part of this study is knowing the strata, the type of parents you're catering to. When you were designing your school, what did you have in mind? What type of parents you wanted as, be part of the school?
So...
and how has that changed your decisions?
Difficult question, actually. Because... leaving the economics part out. Because the economics part, everybody understands. It's a precursor. So leaving that out. We had advice from various people, good people who understand education in India, some school leaders, well-respected school leaders and all of that, which is select the parents. Okay?
Very hard as a new school, right?
Select the parents. Not only new school, very hard as a philosophy. Because, select the parents because that will help you over the time and that will help you by creating certain conditions in your school and 2-3 years down the line everybody knows that this school selects parents and all of that and so on and so forth. Now that really upset me.
Really?
Yes, that really upset me.
Okay.
So in fact a couple of potential parents also said, you're building a fantastic school, vision, everything. What kind of parents you will...
What can we expect our co-parents or our parents around us?
Would you give admission to children of such parents and such parents? And not names, but, the such type of parents and such type of parents.
However way they wanted to dissect the community.
So it came from various very important sources, those questions and advice. It really upset me because if my school, which I attended, applied the same rule, I shouldn't have been given the admission. So who are you to decide how the parents should be to select a child? Now, I'm very, very strong about this. I think it's a crime. I don't think any school should do it. I don't think any school should be allowed to do it. Because, see, doesn't matter how hard he worked, where he worked, he must be a local farmer. There are some significant number of local farmers' children here. who worked hard to send their children to this school. So somebody could be a doctor, somebody could be an NRI working in California. Doesn't matter where they come from. Why should it matter what the parent does? Because see, so my parents didn't go to school, so therefore a good school should not give me an admission because my parents are not well educated.
Yeah.
That's the philosophy, right?
One aspect of it.
Yeah,
yes.
one of it,
Yeah.
aspect of it. Now, the damage it does is that it creates a kind of sect mentality, and it's I really don't believe in that.
Interesting.
So, what I always suggest to parents, and also there's another unknown danger for many people, they don't understand this. Now, let's go back to the ecosystem, controlled ecosystem.
Yeah.
Now, this kid, let's say, school X selects the parents ruthlessly. You have to be XYZ, you have to be this, you have to be that, and that's how we take the school. And there's good number of schools who does that. Now, when they pass out 12th grade, out of those schools, when they go out, do they have control on which parents, who their parents are in UCLA or
Absolutely
who their parents are in IIT Madras,
Yeah.
or who their parents are in local business school?
Yeah.
They don't have any control. So why you want to send and create a shell around your kids that my kids has to sit with these kids, right? So you need to really change that mindset quite a bit, and in that sense. So we have zero parent selection process. It's all about children. Zero, absolute zero. I really instructed from the day one. I am against it. And so on.
It's not even just about material things, I think, which is what you were alluding about, like parents' background and all of that. But do you think there is an element of parents' expectation alignment when they walk into the school? And that could lead to a certain mindset of parents. So if you segregate the parents in that way, I'm not, and I guess my intent was never to ask about, but that's a good point. There might be some schools who may be sort of differentiating based on background, religion, caste, creed, whatever.
Language, how well they speak in English.
Oh yeah, there you go. Language, financial strata, all of that could be material things that people get confused about these days or mixed up about these days. But I think as a school, to really realize the true potential for the ecosystem, you do have to have alignment on what the parent's expectation is from the school and what the school's expectation is from the parent.
Absolutely. Expectations.
How do you communicate that?
Yeah. That's fun. Expectations management.
Yeah.
A school has to do it. Okay. If you don't do that. So for example, you explain to the students and the parents about the philosophy of the school. Many parents will get convinced that, okay, I can understand where they are coming from. Now, many expectations when it comes to quality of education, development of their child, okay, all of those we can manage, we can deliver. If you're expecting who my child is going to sit with, what socioeconomic background his friend or is sitting beside, that expectation we can't deliver, because the world out there is natural.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody
uncontrolled.
Uncontrolled. So you need to see, first of all, philosophically, ethically it is wrong. Secondly, you are preparing your child for failure going into future, because it's a it becomes a very, very monotheistic kind of environment where the only kind of people are like
similar.
You.
Yeah. Diversity is missing.
Diversity is missing. So you are actually setting them for failure.
Yeah.
So you need to manage the expectations, and trust me, the parents, vast majority of the parents, they will understand.
Yeah.
They'll understand, and we were able to do it reasonably well.
Yeah.
0.001% at the application stage itself, we know that they are very clear in terms of what they want, and that doesn't match our expectations of, how a parent should think and all of that. Then we have to let them go.
Do you explicitly have a way of identifying, like, a parent who walks in and says, hey, you know what, I want my child to go to IIT.
Yes.
That is their life's mission. And is it important for you to communicate like, hey, that may not be the clear path?
Yeah. So
Here.
I think fortunately so far, the type of parents that are coming here,
You've attracted, yeah.
that are coming here, even those who want their kid to be the next civil servant.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
There are a couple of parents who are IAS officers,
Oh, nice.
some IPS
Yeah.
officers, and so on. So those parents who want them to choose their fields, they are open-minded.
Wow.
Right? They're only guiding that it will be good.
It will be nice if
It
my
will be
son
nice.
also clears the
Yeah,
UPSC.
clears the- yeah.
but
and fantastic.
yeah,
That's fine.
yeah.
But they're not saying that this is what they must do, right? So fortunately,
That's
they have
national
that mindset.
progress.
Yeah, that's a very good progress.
Yeah.
And also, when somebody doesn't have that mindset, when we try to discuss, they clearly understand.
Yeah.
So we did not have that problem that however, there are certain things where we needed to let the applications go.
Yeah.
Application stage itself.
Okay.
Because they said, when you are going to start IIT coaching, would you start at 8th grade or 10th grade? Okay. We said, we don't start IIT coaching, full stop, in the school. 11th, yes, we'll provide certain support.
Okay.
11th
You
and
do.
12th, yeah, because, the entrance exams in CBSE.
Okay.
Like similarly in IB, we provide IELTS and other things.
Or like you can do like counseling for
Yeah.
university
We provide
admissions and all of that. You
provide
do that.
for
Yeah.
9th grade also, we provide counseling, but not coaching for UPSC,
Yeah.
coaching for IIT, MCET.
You will
or
not
whatever.
put a center on campus to do
So
that.
we are very clear, and there are a couple of parents who said, no, we want this. I said, this is wrong school.
Not the right place.
Please don't join us.
Yeah. And it's very important as school to be able to say that, because you're stopping injustice to the school and to the parent.
Because
and the
they're
child.
very clear of what they want, and there is absolutely
wrong with
fine
that.
with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Because that's what they want. They are very
Yeah.
clear, fantastic. Go for it. But see, we can't satisfy everybody.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the way I think so far we were able to manage, but 0.1% couple of parents we said I think this is one example I would like to give and close this year. We have for some reason lots of doctors' children,
Okay.
medical
Interesting.
doctors, right? I was surprised. So I said, and I thought when
They were attracted by
and
your past work.
both parents were doctors, medical doctors, right? And in the first year, I used to, first doctor came, second doctor came, third, 15th doctor came. I said, there is a
doctors
pattern
talking to each
here.
other.
What's going on here? And I started talking a bit more detail with this. I was involved in almost meeting every parent in the first year.
Wonderful.
Almost even in second year, half the. I tried to meet all the parents at some point. So I asked them the question. So what is attracting you? Vast majority of the doctors said, look, I want my kid to do anything they want, realize their full potential in any field,
Yeah.
right? And I really don't want to put even a goal of becoming a doctor.
Wow.
If they do want to become a doctor because they like it, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
Now, specifically, doctors have said that. Now, almost every doctor,
in your school,
most of them are really high flyers in their education, rankers in entrance exams, free medical seats and all. Most of them, really. And them saying this, it really clicks you because, right, the people are changing in India. Because
that's the mindset shift happening, which is amazing
it's
for the next
fundamental.
generation.
It's fundamental shift is happening, and people are very open-minded.
Yeah.
Especially even those rankers are open-minded.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's a positive sign, and I'm glad to hear those aspects. And because it's not just engineer, doctor, or programmer. There are so many fields. There are so many fields that has grown immensely, huge opportunities, business opportunities, employment opportunities. So I think people are changing at a fundamental level.
Yeah. Now, something that really fascinated with me, as you made the transition, now almost 5 years ago, it's like you reach a point in your career where you've got all the success and ambitions around you. You hit peak. I believe you were facilitated with one of the highest honors in the UK of being honorary MBE. First, tell us what it means to be an MBE, how it felt, because I'm sure our listeners would be intrigued to understand what it is and the value of it.
Yeah, and I don't know the value of it, but it's a good
It's a
gesture.
proud
It's
thing
a good
for us,
gesture.
yes.
So like our own honor systems,
Yeah.
like Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan,
Yeah.
Bharat Ratna, United Kingdom for centuries have their own
Okay.
system. One of these things is the most excellent order of British Empire.
Wow.
Okay. Before independence, they used to give to several people.
Okay.
For example, Sir C.V. Raman.
Okay.
He was
The Nobel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobel Prize. So after independence, India developed its own system.
Yes.
So for UK citizens, they have their own honor system. But if you're a foreigner like me,
Yeah.
they will add something called honorary.
Okay.
Because you're not a subject of British Queen at that time.
Yeah.
Queen was there. So it's their system. So I got MBE in that system, member of that most excellent order of British Empire. That was given for my contributions of 20 years to education, health, and industry. My research work and as a leader in the university, that and also the big things that we transformed in the health education I spoke about. So all of those together, while I was coming out of UK, that was given. So I'm thankful because for a foreign country to recognize your work,
Yes.
and give that's really satisfactory. But I think that was
Had you already made up your mind of moving back that time? You were already moved
almost.
back?
They
Almost.
don't know that.
Yeah, of course. No, I
Almost.
mean, I'm more interested in the mental space you were
They
in,
didn't,
like,
yeah.
that obviously makes you feel rewarded. But then, did that fuel you for the energy that is for the road ahead in terms of starting something from
Definitely,
scratch? And
see,
how did that play in your mind?
Because in your mind, you're traveling towards certain goals
Yeah.
of your own, certain philosophy of your own. But when somebody who is neutral, you see, there are a lot of awards they give, like chocolates. That's a different matter.
Of course.
When a government, when a state, looks into these things and recognizes you for what you have done in 20 years in a foreign country.
Yeah.
That validates that whatever you're doing to a certain extent. I'm not saying just because of that you've progressed, but it gives us that level of that little bit of motivation,
fuel to fire.
Fuel to fire.
Yeah.
And you could say that acted as a little bit of rocket fuel when I was coming to India.
Exactly.
It did.
Yeah.
I have to say it did, because it's always nice to a state to recognize a country to recognize you on that. So that was really something that was delightful.
And 5 years later, we're sitting in this amazing facility. Let's dream forward 25 years. If you're sitting in a conversation, over coffee, what do you want to be most proud of 25 years from now? And what would be something that you will not want to associate as, or like a philosophical failure for you in that? I mean, do you think about those things? If you were to think about that, what would those two things be? Most proud of and a philosophical failure point.
So there are two. Both the answer is one for both of them. Okay. I'll talk about the failure first, philosophical failure. 25 years down the line, if I'm doing a similar interview or just it need not be 25 years. Let's say last minute of your life.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
That's how I.
That's the ultimate truth.
That's why actually that's how I count it in a way.
Absolutely.
So in the last minute of your life, are you dying happily? Okay. So what makes you happy? What makes you unhappy? That's the ultimate. That's only 1 minute that counts in terms of. And for that 1 minute, you plan your whole life. That's my philosophy.
Wonderful.
Okay. So in that minute, if you're able to recollect as a teacher first, your students achieving phenomenal heights, right? A number of your students that you produced achieved phenomenal heights, made a mark on the society, on the industry, on the way of life.
Yeah.
I think you can die happily.
That's amazing.
I think I would die happily.
Yeah.
If you didn't do it, then there's a gap in what you are set out to achieve and what you achieve. So, as a teacher at the core, the reason why we started this institution, I think that minute I would like to see that our students from the institutions. They influenced and reached great heights and changed the way of life for positive.
Nice. Very cool. That's very inspiring to hear. Thank you so much for sharing everything with us today and your time. Before we conclude, just one final question. In fact, I'm asking you for a question. So we're trying to do something where we want to give you an opportunity to ask a burning question to a fellow school owner or a founder in education. If you had the opportunity, what would you ask?
Why are you starting a school?
Okay, got it.
One reason, not
Yeah.
10.
Okay.
Why are you
Number one reason.
One reason.
Why are you
Why are you
starting
starting a school?
Great. We're going to put that out in the next
Yeah.
episode, and we'll try to keep this going for future
And
episodes.
if you get an honest answer for that, I think that's quite important.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much. This has been an amazing contribution for our listeners, and I want to thank you for being very genuine in terms of answering some of the hard questions as well, and your genuinity was out there. So really appreciate the time today.
Thank you very much indeed.
Yes.
It was glad to be sitting with you and talking about these things. Thank you for that.
Pleasure. This conversation quietly challenges a comforting idea that clarity comes after safety. What stands out is not what was built, but what was consciously not postponed. For school owners, this is not a story about scale or success. It's a reminder that institutions are shaped by the moment we choose to act, before everything feels settled. The real question may not be what I should build next, but what truth I am delaying action on. That question doesn't demand urgency, that demands honesty. This is your host, Ankur Gupta, signing out. I will see you in my next episode. Till then, keep learning and keep inspiring.